Sometimes with a model railway, you don't have a whole lot of time to take on a major project. Tonight's one of those times. I'm just in from work. It's been a long week. I've had my dinner or my tea. I've had that. I've got a nice cup of tea and we're just going to get on with one of those niggly little projects. Come on. Well, there's my cup of tea and there's our project for the night. This is one of those locomotives that keeps losing its DCC coding. So the chip won't hold the locomotive number. I think this one is supposed to be number 10 and it keeps reverting to 3. And so I'm just going to change the chip and we'll keep the old one and see what it looks like when we take it out. So a quick look around. I've got some half decent light. The battery block over there is charging my phone. I'm shooting this on a phone tonight. Soldering iron up there. I don't like working on that bench. It's a great place for soldering, but I like to sit down in a comfy chair and have my tea. So that's what we got. Nothing out of the ordinary. I do have to remember that I'm working DCC tonight, not DC, because that would not end well. When you have both systems in operation, it can get to the point where you think, oh, I shouldn't have put a battery across there. So let's get on with it. Now then, I haven't been inside this thing for years, and I'm just having a quick look around it. I'm seeing that one of the buffers, they're sprung. Well, that one's jammed in there. I don't know who made this. I don't want to blame anybody. I think it's Buckman. Oh yeah, that buffer's, well, now it's freed up now. It must have taken a whack, I think. It might be bent. Who knows? I got 2 of these. Well, not this particular one. There were 2 tank engines. I believe one of them was split chassis, and I think we're about to find out whether it was this one or not. Let's have a look. I really don't know. I've got no paperwork on it. There are, let me make sure you're seeing, there are some screws under the front truck there and a couple at the back. I'm going to take them out. Usually I have a little pot. Now you've heard me say this. So this little battery, this is just a store for spare batteries, and it's got some nice grooves on it. So I sometimes, and a lip, so I put the screws I take out on that, which is over there. Right, Phillips screwdriver. And we'll take this one out of there. There it is, see it, magnetic, and we're just going to pop that over there where I'll find it later. Now the dog came in here earlier while I was at work and knocked something over, and everybody was terrified that she'd broken something, but I think all it was a tin can, and apparently she went whizzing out of here at breakneck speed, terrified. She's usually pretty good. She doesn't chew trains or anything. Right, losing the screws already. There's, put you up there. Now then, what did that do? Well, the back end feels loose, so let's move to the front end and see if... This is kind of interesting because there's one in the middle there and there's one each side. I'm guessing the this piston assembly probably is held on by the 2. It's a guess, but I can push this out of the way. See if I can get that middle one out. Well, I've got it. Now, did that do anything? Well, the back wants to come off. It's actually quite a... The front does not. Let's have a look again. Aha. pop it on its wheels. Let's see what we've got. Some rather intricate. You have to be careful with these things. This is, I don't know how old this is, but I'm, you know how it is when you get old. Well, some of you don't. But when you get a little older, you can't remember. You think this might have been a year or two ago. I believe this will be, I don't know. Let me guess. I had it when we did that. I had it down to 15 or more years. Okay, well this one actually isn't that difficult. It is plug and play, and there is a chip stuck up on the top there. There's the, well, that was easy. So the chip really is, it's DCC ready. It's not the split chassis version, and I can't tell you how happy I am. We will do a split chassis one of these days just to show you how to do it. But this isn't that. Now, one of the key things here is to remember which pin is which. And I'm looking and saying red was down here. I can't see any pin numbers. Now then. Flat screwdriver. And a little wiggle. So if this wasn't split chassis, I had no idea. If this isn't split chassis, then perhaps the goods tank is. You have to wiggle these out. Diggy, diggy, diggy. There's 8 pins, but what you don't want to do is bend anything up. And using screwdriver in there and levering, or levering we would say, you're going to break whatever that is. It's a coil of some description. There is a screw. It is tight. There's a screw there, so I'm going to prise down on it just a tad. And then the other end, get my nail under it. Now I believe I talked about spark suppression just a few days ago. And I'll show you where it is on this one. There it is. That's off. Still holding it that way around. I can't see numbers. Looking. But we do know the red wire is over this way. So this is the spark suppressor right there, little capacitor. This must be a much newer locomotive than I thought it was. While I have it in pieces like this, I will just put a tiny dab of oil on these, on the motion here. The wheels don't look too bad. Look, I mean, there's a shiny, you can't see that, can you? I tipped it. There's a shiny line there. That's normal wear and tear. But they're not dirty, and I have not cleaned them. Yeah. Nice locomotive. All right, where's my new chip? I just picked up the body of this locomotive to move it. That thing is heavy. I mean, it really is. Woo. Must be some cast material in that. Anyway, I shall put it to one side. I just wanted it out of the way, but that's heavy. Right. There are many, many people that I'm sure have made great videos about DC to DCC. Basics then. Toy trains run using an electric motor. The electric motor will typically have brushes. There's one there, and there's one on the other side right there. These little capacitors here, these are spark suppression. That is going from the brush to the case of the motor, and it will do the same on the other side. So essentially you have 2 capacitors in series between the brushes. They're to the case of the motor. That's, oh, we grounded them. Well, you didn't, because there isn't really a ground. But that's, it's not a bad habit to do that. the red wire and the black wire, these are nominally plus and minus in the very same way plus and minus on a battery. And if I were to hook the plus and the minus up, well, that way around, isn't it? If I were to do that, and I could, I wonder if there's a, no, it's not reasonable to do it right now, but if I put that to there and that to there, the locomotive would move along quite nicely and run sweetly. So those two red wires, that red and black wire, those two wires, if they are connected, the red to these wheels and the black to those wheels, that is how you run that locomotive DC. Now, the way the pickups work on this one, where are they even? I can't see them. They're in there somewhere. I'll clean them before we put this thing back together. There they are. Look, you see there? You see that one? Right there. There'll be another one up here somewhere. My screwdriver's too shiny for this job. So that's where the contacts are then. You see it? Right in there. And I think this one's probably easier to see. There, you see it? That's better. So all that's happening on a standard DC layout or DC operation, that red wire connects down there to those contacts and the black one goes to the other side. With DCC, those contacts are interrupted. So the wheels send their electricity up to this little board here. And then, so let's just say there's a red wire here and a black one there. That's from the wheels. That then goes through a magic blob. Here's the magic blob. Goes through that magic and it spits out DC on these two wires. So all it's doing is converting whatever's coming up the track to the wheels back to DC. The complicated magic bit is that this thing, the chip, converts and interprets the signals you're sending on the wheels or the track to that motor. So it's converting a clever computer code back to a simple DC signal, and it decides which way round it sends it. So if you send it red-black, it goes that way, and if you send it black-red, it goes that way. And it's very, very simple. The complicated bit is all of the coding inside of these little integrated circuits. And looking at it, this is actually, so these are just these are diodes and transistors on this side and resistors. I recognize that number. This is just handling power. On the other side of the board, that's the actual chip right there. See all the little wires coming off the side of it. So it's quite complicated there, but as far as we're concerned, there are just two wires in and two wires out. That's it. The other, so what do we want all the other wires for? Well, that's so that we can use the same chip. This is one of those things. Here's a hammer. What can I hit? So since we're doing that, and we've got a chip in there that's clever enough to do other things, why don't we wire it so that it could, if it wanted to, operate lights and firebox flicker and all that good stuff? Well, this locomotive doesn't have it. Now then, enough of me waffling, let's put that new chip in. So here it is. Well, there it is. Now this one, sensibly, comes already in a heat shrink thing. It's about the same physical size. This one is slightly, the new red one there, slightly smaller. But that's all there is to it. So this one, you can't even see the wizardry. This plastic on here is not so much for static as to stop the pins getting bent. Oh, don't touch the pins. Well, it doesn't really make a lot of difference. Now, I am going to say something here. just putting them side by side, can you see, even though completely different manufacturers, the colors are the same? There is a standard. The red is down this way, so we're going to pop that in there. And all I'm doing, see that? You're making sure you line up all the pins. And just a little bit of rocking back and forth. I usually don't use tools to do this. Usually I can feel with my fingers what I'm doing. And look where I'm pushing on the bottom. I'm pushing on the brake rodding. So I try to push on the wheels themselves because there's a bearing and what have you. But I don't want big screwdrivers and pliers going in there. But you do have to push quite hard. Remember the joy I had getting it out. So that's in there enough. With this one, where that chip sits on this locomotive is actually in the boiler. So there's a nice little space up there for it. So I'm just having a look. A little bit of oil there. I wonder where that came from. Is that oil? Yeah, it is. Who would oil that? Anyway, before we put it on, oil it said. Oh, reaching over. This is the stuff I've been using. It's an American product, but standard synthetic lubricant. Sewing machine oil, essentially, if you can't find what you're looking for. Right. I'm always terrified of stabbing myself with this thing. What did you do? Well, I oiled myself. Whoops, way too much. Get it off. This needs a little bit on each of the moving bits. Roll it over and we'll do the other side too. It does look a bit bent up here. It isn't. Don't think so anyway. And then I'm not taking the base keeper plate off because I can get my syringe type device down there to the axles. Again, I'm not over oiling at all, just a little bit. I am going to find a piece of kitchen paper. The one with thirst pockets, isn't that what they call this? Alrighty. What I'm going to do is just stand that locomotive on the kitchen paper and push down just gently like this. And that's because very typically you will get a little bit of oil on the lower rims. It usually doesn't go anywhere else, but that's where I think it will be. And if I'm right, there will be little, yep, there are, just a few right here. You see those little wet patches? Right there, bloop and bloop. One other place I am going to put just a tad of oil, put the locomotive itself to one side. I'm going to have a look at that front buffer while we have a chance. See, did I bend it or something? It doesn't look bent. It does feel caught up there. I'm just going to put a dab of oil on that. Push it in and out on the other end. I'm expecting what's happened is that it's rear-ended something at some point. It's probably bent. And it doesn't matter if it goes in and out because it usually doesn't. It is coming back out now, so it may just be dirt, but I rather suspect, I'm looking at them in line, I rather suspect it's more likely. I don't want to be wiggling around and then find I snap something off and I've got a bigger problem, I have to glue something. But that one is very, very easy, and this one, well, it's getting easier. It might be rust. do it? I don't think so. It's better than it was. I'm happy with it. Now, you see the oil here? That's probably from original. I've had this a long time though, and I haven't put oil in there. Huh. Yeah, that'll be fine. And you have to watch you don't get oil on your fingers. If this hand has, do you see that? And this has not. So if I were to touch the body with this, you end up with a nasty oily print on the side of the locomotive. Now, put the lid back on your oil. Done. And put the oil away so that you don't run it over. Now, time to put the body back on. I could run this chassis up and down just to make sure everything's fine and all that good stuff, but we won't do that. I am going to twist it though. You see these, there's nothing wrong with the way it is, but I prefer just to give it a twist and a half or something like that. We're not putting a lot of strain on anything, but we are just tidying, keeping the wires together just a little bit, you see. So now, instead of them all splaying out, we'll tuck that in there. As if by magic it'll disappear. Yep, it's in there. And drop the body back on. Right. If I have got oil on it, now here's a little trick. You see me pushing, this step is pushing that red wire down. Do you see? It's going to get down close enough that it will be a problem. So we're just going to push that up a bit. Tuck it out of the way. There we go. There's no reason why that one can't go there in between those capacitors. And this one here, yep. Just making sure there's nothing going to get caught up on us. And I'm looking, do you see right here? There's my pointy stick. Right here. We've just got to clear that with the front of the body, and that is not the new chip. That is the socket. A little bit of gentle wiggling and finagling, and on it goes. And now I'll lay it down, make sure there's something under there. What have I got under there? The old chip. I did try to demonstrate that you could actually apply DC to one of these things and manage to, there was smoke wisping out from the chip. As I was saying, it's quite all right to do it. It used to be quite all right to do it. There we go. And it just falls in. When it's right, it falls in. Looking at those wheels, yeah, it could do with a little bit of a polish. Nothing serious. I'm having a good look. We don't run them on a carpet or anything like that, just on a filthy layout. So now we've got 3 screws to put back in, if I remember right. Do you see how easy it would have been to whip out the other 2, and then the whole this assembly here would have popped out and I'd have had bits of metal going everywhere. So, as I often say in the classroom, have a little think before you act. There's my Phillips screwdriver. I'm going to put the front one in first. It's actually quite fun. I'm trying to do that through a lens. There we go. Now the Class 40 also needs a new chip, doesn't it? There's 3 locomotives that I have on my list. Now, do you see what I've done here? I've got this wheel, the wrong side of this gear. I just had to lean it out just a bit, but you have to be so careful with that stuff. Don't be afraid to take the screw back out and just lift it off and start again. Yeah, so 3 locomotives that have been playing this same naughty game. Just drop one of the screws. I see exactly where it went. The problem is that some chips, for some reason, like to lose their coding and revert to 3. Now, if you've got more than one locomotive doing that, it becomes a problem, because when you need to move them, they all move at the same time. So now this one, I'm hoping this will solve the problem. We'll see in a minute. Right, up on your wheels, you. Anesthetic over. Right, let's go put it on the programming track. Tomorrow is a clean-up day. I'm just checking that there's nothing on the rails that will give me a heart attack or anything like that. No, I'm not moving everything tonight. We're good, but it is a big old mess up here. Right, we're gonna have to play trains for a minute. Oh, what a shame. We've got to move those 2 trains out of there. Now, this might sound like a disadvantage of having a programming track as part of the layout. There is a huge advantage when you are trying to program that 4-car EMU and it needs to go in and out of the programming track while you change what are called CV values. These are all the parameters that that chip that I showed you can handle. So in this particular instance, it would be lighting, perhaps braking, who knows what. But while you're making changes to those, you really don't want to have to lift up that 4-car unit and put it on a test track. So that's why I've done it this way. But when you need to program a locomotive, as we do now, I've got nowhere to put it. So, so what I'm going to do is play trains. We're going to move that one and the one behind out, and we'll just shunt them out onto the main line. I'll set up the points and we'll go from there. Now this thing, you remember I've said we need to update it. It's all very nice, but it's not accurate. So I need to make a new one. That'll be one of those evening jobs too. I won't bore you with that, but tonight is the 4 VEP and the sardine special, the original sardine special. So those are the 2 I've got to move. Yeah, we found the first one. Should dim that reading light down, shouldn't I? At some point. There's another one back here. I put all the other lights in and they're fine. Alright, off you go. That's probably far enough. No, it isn't. Right, that's far enough. You come in? Yeah, there you are. Sounds like it's derailed. Just check that. Nope, not derailed, just purring. Okay, who needs sound chips when you've got locomotives that purr? The class 40 is misbehaving and being a 3, but there's plenty of room behind it too. So if I just run this, this is running at remarkably slow speed. So we know it's running, is my point. That's with the new chip as number 3. It's got its forward and backwards the right way around. And I'm watching the 40. It doesn't usually pick up until a couple of notches higher than this. This is running remarkably well, but let's get it onto that programming track. So as it crosses over that break in the track there, I always take them way down beyond it. So that locomotive is now on the programming track, but the programming track is switched as part of the layout right now. Let's stop it. Now I'm going to flick the switch to program. And all that's done is taken those two wires away from there. Those two rails were connected to two wires that were connected to there. It's taken them away and shoved them onto the program connection of the controller. So now I should be able to program it. I'll show you the whole process real time. So I hit program and it'll take a hot minute. It says the address. What do you want it to be? So I'm just going to turn this knob until it goes to 10. 10. And then I'll press enter. And it says good. And then I press exit, which is down here. And then I can flick the switch again. Here's the moment of truth. That locomotive now should respond to 10. Let's program this to 10. 10. There it goes. And then I'll turn it around. And there it goes. Very jumpy. It's had none of its parameters or CV values adjusted. But it works very nicely. I've got no reason to do anything else with it. I've got nowhere really to run it or give it a little try. I'm not going to lift it off the track. I'm going to change the point and put it in front of the underground train. Here it comes. And now we can put those two back onto the programming track. Here comes the other one. I just realized that the train right here on our right is the train that locomotive we've just re-chipped usually pulls. So I will make one more move in just a second. Well, we're not clear of those points. Oh, this is just playing. Alrighty, I admit it. This was never designed to hold 6 carriages. But there we have it. Looks like they're coupled, doesn't it? They're not. There's no hooks down there. Lovely. Well, that's still tight, but I think we're good enough there. In real life, somebody would be going, "Oh, you can't park there, mate." Ooh, that's close. It's all right. Well, you were supposed to be picking your track. Oh, I see. Yeah, you're the wrong way round. Huh. Didn't think of that. Well, the nice thing about having reversing loops and a pause on the camera is we can do that. Did we get it? Yes, we did. I'm so happy. Right, we're going to back you off the footpath just because, and we're going to call that a night. Is that the elusive split chassis locomotive? I think it must be, because that's the only other tank I've got on the layout right now. And I know I've got one somewhere. Well, it might be in the drawer. And the Class 40. What to do with the Class 40? Well, the Class 40, I'd rather like it to light up and make noises. Seems like the sort of thing that that locomotive should do. So I'm going to have a little look. I think there's an 8-pin socket in that thing. We're not going to do that right now. That would be another diversion, wouldn't it? But one chip changed and one locomotive with a brain transplant. It's not a heart transplant, that would be the motor. Just me changing the chip. And I believe that's Buckman. I never did. I think I saw on the bottom Buckman. I don't know. But whatever it is, it's now working for now. And I can't see any reason why that chip would lose its coding. It's brand new and they have a no quibble guarantee. It's one of the nice things about Digitrax. Well, thanks for watching. And we'll get on with some fun and games in a couple of days. Thanks, Dan.